Good morning, everyone. As I call the TDLCB meeting for the month of January, or the January 15th meeting is called to order at 10 a.m. May I get a roll call, please?
Amy Federman, present. Cheryl Stanford, Diana Garcia, Christy Gillis,
Here.
Jennifer Fowler, Jessica Walker, Scott Olson.
Here.
Jean Zarula, Mary Tyson. Here. Lee Wilson.
Here.
Patricia Lepofsky, Doug Hall,
Yes.
Council Secretary Matt Reinhardt,
Here.
Carmen Hall, Heather Harrelson, Emilio Pifiaga, Cartier Morel, Robin King, Kathy Spencer, Steven Subitelli, Benjamin Youngs,
Here.
Steve Jack. We have
Here.
one.
Oh, there's Steve. Was that Steve? Yes. Okay, I'll take it. All right, can I get everybody to stand for the pledge of allegiance? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I have visions. I know Christy was standing up at home or wherever she's at, right? Christy?
My dog.
Uh-oh.
Yes.
Yes, there you go. We do have remote participation. Is there a motion to support the participation of board members attending remotely?
I move that we permit remote participation.
Motion made by Doug,
I'll second.
second by Mary. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed? Very good. All right, we're moving on to item 2, the public comment. Are there any members of the public physically present or attending virtually wishing to attend the board or address the board? Hearing none. Move on to the action items. The October 8th, 2025 TDLCB meeting minutes were provided in the packet to you for your review. Are there any questions regarding this minute? Seeing none, is there a motion for approval of those minutes?
Doug moves to accept the minutes.
Motion by Doug. Do I hear a second? I'll second. Scott, thank you very much. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed? Okay. Item B, review and approval of the vote access monthly paratransit reports. The August 2024 to 2025, September 2024 to 2025, and October 2024 to 2025 were provided in the packet for your review. Are there any questions regarding that? No questions. Do I have a motion to approve?
I move that we approve.
Oh, do you have any? I'm sorry.
I'm fine.
Oh, you're good. Okay, I jumped right over you. Motion made by Doug. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Ben. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Like sign opposed. C, review and approval of the VO Access fiscal year 2025-2026 evaluation. A link to that evaluation is listed in the summary sheet in the packet that was provided. Are there any questions regarding that? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve the evaluation? Motion by D, thank you. Do I hear a second?
Second, Doug.
Second by Doug. Doug just didn't want to do all the motions. He was giving the rest of them a chance. Usually Doug is there for me. I usually go like this. All right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed. All right. The next item, vote access has requested to withdraw this item for discussion. Do I get and I'm in favor of that. Is there a motion to withdraw this action item?
Yeah, so moved.
All right. So moved by Mary. Do I hear a second?
Second, Doug.
Second, Doug. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed. Action item 4, presentation and discussion of the Transportation Disadvantage Program. Stephen Harris will provide an overview of the statewide and local transportation disadvantage program.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir. You have the floor.
No. Okay.
Because all the dogs are here.
Okay, so the transportation disadvantage program, who we serve, who are our customers, they are older adults, persons with disabilities, low income people, and at-risk children. They can need a ride to medical services, work, job training, school, grocery store, etc. So the TD program was created by the legislature, the Florida legislature, in 1989. And the program was meant to coordinate transportation services in each of Florida's counties. Here in Volusia County and in other counties, it's implemented by three primary entities. The Community Transportation Coordinator, which is Go Access, the Planning Agency, which is the Volusia-Flagler PPO, and the Local Coordinating Board. That's this board, you all. The Commission also works with state and local partners or purchasing agencies to coordinate funding for TD services. Now, the governing documents that the whole program relies on is Chapter 427 of the Florida statutes and Rule Chapter 41-2 of the Florida Administrative Code. So what is coordinated transportation? The coordination is the arrangement of transportation in a manner that is cost-effective, efficient, and reduces fragmentation and duplication of services. Now, the statewide Commission for the Transportation Disadvantage. They are administratively housed within the Florida Department of Transportation, but they act independently. The commissioners are 11 board members, all appointed by the governor, okay, including 2 county administrators and advisors representing state agencies, including FDOT. The commissioners report directly to the governor. The commission administers the TD Trust Fund, distributes funding through its grant programs, develops rules and policies governing the coordinated system, approves and contracts with CTCs, such as Full Access, to support the delivery of TD services, and designates the planning agency, like the TPO, to implement the program at the local level, including staffing and local coordinating boards. The commission also submits an annual performance report to the governor and legislature, and that's normally done this month in January of each year. So the grant programs, there are several grant programs that the commission administers. One is the Trip and Equipment Grant, which allocates funding to each of Florida's 67 counties for CTCs to purchase trips, bus passes, and capital equipment. There's a planning grant that supports planning activities for local TD programs. Planning agencies like the TPO participate in that grant. There's the Shirley Conroy Rural Area Capital Assistance Grant that provides competitive funding for CTCs to purchase capital equipment. There's the Innovative Service Development Grant, which provides competitive funding for CTCs to test new services that increase access for TD riders, enhance cross-county mobility, or reduce barriers to the fixed route system. Of these grants, Full Access participates in the Trip and Equipment Grant and the Innovative Service Development Grant. And we'll hear more about that in another presentation today. TPO participates in the Planning Grant. Now, planning agency responsibilities. Now, planning agencies can be a regional planning council, TPO, or another organization performing planning activities. Here in Volusia County, it's the Volusia-Flagler TPO. We assist Full Access and this board to implement the local TD program. We staff and appoint members to this board. We facilitate the procurement of Full Access and recommend approval by the commission. We work with Full Access and this board to develop the TD service plan. And we review the annual operating report, or AOR. And we submit it to this board every year. Now, the responsibilities of this board, right? This board represents local stakeholders of the TD program. On this board, we have local elected official, Chair Reinhardt. We have representatives from the purchasing agencies, from transportation provider organizations, and we have rider advocates. This board assists in establishing eligibility guidelines and trip priorities. The next presentation we'll hear about eligibility guidelines. This board assists VO Access and TPO staff with developing the TD service plan. This board evaluates the performance of the CTC as we did today. And this board appoints members to the Grievance and Quality Assurance Committee. Okay. Now, the CTC VO Access's responsibilities. Now, the CTC can be a transit agency, nonprofit organization, local government entity. In this case, it's a transit agency, VO Access. That's backed by the local government, Volusia County. VO Access provides and/or contracts with transportation companies to deliver trips to TD customers in Volusia County. Some agencies deliver services to a multi-county area. In this case, we're just talking about Volusia County. VO Access determines rider eligibility based on state and local guidelines, invoices agencies for trips purchased for TD customers, assists this board in developing the TD service plan, and submits performance data to the commission compiled within the annual operating report. Now, what's key, and you'll hear this in the next presentation, is that VO Access determines rider eligibility, and this board provides assistance, provides advice and direction on that eligibility determination. Now, there are several partnering agencies, and that includes FDOT, Agency for Persons with Disabilities, Agency for Healthcare Administration, Department of Elder Affairs. There are representatives of each one of those partnering agencies on this board. The agencies purchase trips or support operations that serve segments of the TD population. They assist communities in designating systems that meet the needs of TD customers. They ensure their rules, procedures, and guidelines are supportive of the TD population. A minute, please.
I was gonna say, I can hear the theme of Jeopardy.
Well, Pam's going to get to it. We have just two more slides.
Okay.
And on one of the slides, there are statistics from the AOR. This comes from the AOR, these statistics that involve ridership and trips. Approximately 242,000 trips were provided to nearly 4,300 riders here in Volusia County. Approximately 17% of all reported trips supported life-sustaining activities, and 31% supported medical activities. And approximately 94% of all reported trips were delivered by paratransit, and the remaining 6% were taxicab trips. Those are the local statistics here in Volusia County, and that data was extracted from the AOR this year. Next. Okay, finally, if you're asking what you can do to serve our customers, you can be a voice for riders in your community, advocates. You can donate $1 or more to the TD Trust Fund when renewing your auto tags. You can inform elected officials, such as our chair, about the importance of the TD program, and you can work with VO Access and the TPO and other partners to identify areas of need in the community. After this meeting, we'll have a TD public hearing. That's the sole purpose of the public hearing, to gain feedback on needs met or unmet within the community for TD ridership. And that's my presentation. Are there any questions or comments? Thank you. Thank
On
you.
the stats too. I appreciate that. Thank you very much, Stephen. All right, presentation and item B, presentation discussion of the transportation disadvantage eligibility by Bobby King.
Wait until the presentation comes up.
Here we go again.
Bring your screen so it looks so
I know. There we go. That's all you had to say, Rob.
That was it.
Where were you at 5 minutes ago?
Wondering what I should say.
So Bobby King, I'm Transit Services Director here at Votran. I'm standing here because I want to make sure that the microphones can hear me. Normally I would be at the front of the room, but they're not up there. So it's a great segue from Stephen's presentation a minute ago. Whoops. We want to go over with you some key points of the program that we provide here and some eligibility criteria changes that we would make or recommend for you to consider, and give you some good news about some additional funding that we just received. So still waiting on the presentation. I'm sure we'll get there eventually. Okay, so my quick overview of the TD program kind of coincides with what Stephen had to say, but of course our funds are provided by the state Commission for Transportation Disadvantaged. We get an allocation every year that's provided, that they create the allocation. We accept what they provide us each year. We provide a 10% grant match with our general fund dollars, so our taxpayer dollars. And the commission provides a minimum eligibility criteria that we typically follow, most agencies typically follow, with some changes and recommendations by the local coordination board, which is you all. We want to make you aware that anytime that we provide more trips than what we're funded for from the state, they actually take money away from us. And that's a major disappointment. It's something that our council has addressed by recommending a letter go to our state legislature about it. But that's what we face every single year, is anytime we do more than what we're funded, and we do that every single year, we provide more than what we're funded, we do see a reduction in our state funding. So it's more and more difficult to provide more trips, and will become more and more difficult this year, especially if we see any reductions in property tax. So just floating that out there for your information. We do the best that we can. We make good choices about efficiency to provide as many trips as we possibly can to our community. And we will continue to do that with the funds that were provided. Next slide, please. Hope it works. Okay. So a quick rundown of what our current eligibility looks like. So you must have no other means of transportation available. It's kind of vague. You see over the age of 60, have a physical or mental disability, and individual and household income status is at 150% of poverty level. I want to share that number with you and see how low it is. So one person at 150% of the poverty level is $23,475 a year. That's what you would qualify, or that would qualify for you as a TD eligible rider if you don't have a transportation option. So I wanted to make sure you were aware of that. So what I'm proposing is something more clear for applicants, is that you have no other means of transportation available. That means that no family members in the household that can take you, no vehicles in the household. There's pretty strict requirement about that. And no other funding program available. So you don't have transportation available through Medicaid, or you don't have transportation through Council on Aging, for instance, or whatever, maybe school transportation program that should be providing you transportation, but are using us instead. So those two would be required. You would have to meet those two items before you could move on to the next eligibility, which would be physical or mental disability, or individual and household income status is 200% above the poverty level. So that gives more people access by increasing the poverty level to 200%, which is $31,300 a year. So we could potentially provide more services for folks that fall into that category. So those are the proposed options that I wanted to run by you and see if you were interested in doing that. I think this would help us tremendously at making sure that we're only providing services to folks that are eligible. Unfortunately, we've been finding that some of the criteria has not been being met, and we can't have that situation. We are audited by the state every year. If we have applicants that do not meet the criteria, then we could lose funding. So we have to be very, very careful with our funding and be very, very careful with who we're approving for the program to make sure that we continue to provide the program. I hope that makes sense.
It does.
So that's what I want to present. There's more to this presentation, but I thought I would stop here and see if anybody has any questions. The next slide really just shows
So,
the poverty
real quick
levels.
question. Back to the other slide, I'm sorry.
Mhm.
We've removed the age requirement, correct?
We removed the age requirement. I
And
felt
just said-
like
And gone right to no other funding.
it should not matter what age you are, if you have a physical or mental disability, or if you have an income issue, it shouldn't matter what your age is.
I'm not sure I completely understand, these other options for transportation that I'm hearing about.
Mhm.
That I really never heard about.
Then you probably don't have it.
So, I mean, I know that Council on Aging covers certain things. I know
Mhm.
that Medicaid covers certain things. I
Yes.
do understand that,
Mhm.
but, like, so if somebody's filling out an application, how is this verified?
Yeah. The questions and the required paperwork help us verify this information.
What if the person's income is over the limit, 200% or whatever it is?
Then they don't qualify. Right now it's 150%, which is much lower.
Yeah, and then we're going to 200%.
Right, we're going to 200%.
So my income is over 200% of my. Right.
Well, you would qualify because you have no vehicle and you have a physical disability.
So what, give me numbers, not percent, because my math ain't mathing.
Mhm.
But, so what, give me a number, like what is the limit of what an income can be?
So, okay, so we have that on this next slide. So one person household, the limit would be 31,300. 2 people would be 42,300. 3 people would be 53,300, and 4 people in a household would be 64,300. Each additional person after that would be $5,500 each beyond that.
Okay, okay, here's another example. In my home, my brother lives with me.
Mhm.
He has health issues. There is a vehicle, but it is not available for me.
Right, there's questions on that. So if there's a
So-
vehicle that's not able for you to be able to use, you have to answer all of the questions. And if in the end, if the questions are satisfied, then you could be eligible. And there's waivers that can be made by the CTD at the state level in certain cases. So those are all possibilities. But at this level, we have to follow the application process to a point in which if we needed assistance from the state, we would ask them.
One other question, has anything been done, and if so, I may have missed it. Has anything been done about making the application process more accessible?
Yeah, so that's a good question, and that's coming in a slide, but
Okay, sorry.
I mean, no, I am glad you asked that because that is one of the great things about the new software, besides the fact that we have 97% on-time performance now too. But you can actually upload your application to us now rather than having to print it out and send it to us in the mail. Everything's electronically logged and evaluated, and you receive all your information back and forth electronically. If you choose to do that, of course.
Ms. King, I have a question.
Sure.
So for these current eligibility requirements, is it, the individual applying only has to meet one? Would they have to meet?
They have to meet the required, and then all they have to do is meet one of the other 2 requirements. So they have to either be physically or mentally disabled
Okay.
or have the individual and house or the individual and household income
Okay,
status.
got it.
Met.
Oh, thank you.
Was one of the other 2.
Okay.
Right.
Thank you.
So does that help? Does it make sense? Are you
That
all
helps.
on board with it?
Yes.
Okay, let's move on to the next slide. Well, the next slide really just gave you all the details about the income, which should be shocking as it was to me. So the next piece is the prioritization. We've never had prioritization here until recently, and we had to do that. And so I want to make sure that you all are on board with prioritizing. I will let you know that I have checked no less than 20 other agencies in the state. Some prioritize, some do not. Some only give trips to certain priority and not to other categories. So what we're trying to do here is identify priorities so that our clients get what they need. And then if we have availability after that, they can enjoy maybe a shopping trip. So the priority is this: life-sustaining medical trips. That would be typically like a daily dialysis trip that you can't miss. All other medical trips. So that could be really anything, but it's typically not a regular occurring medical trip. Special needs school trips. So we have some individuals here in Volusia County that utilize our service for transportation to specialized schools for disabled. And in some cases, we'll find out for sure, but we need to make sure that they don't have transportation available through their schools as well. That's going to be part of the evaluation criteria. But if they don't, then they become a priority in our trip prioritization. And then work. And sorry that work is not higher, but we had to figure out a way to get what we absolutely had to do here and look at what's next. All other is shopping and recreational needs. So that's how we would consider prioritizing your trips. And that's what we recommend for you.
We had knowing about the special needs school trips, we had the situation a little while back.
Mhm.
Did they get that resolved?
Yes, we are prioritizing them now, even though we don't have a set prioritization. We did make that a priority.
I know we're looking for additional.
We're gonna talk a little bit about that too.
I'll read it. Okay.
Yeah, so I want to make sure you're all right with prioritizing going
I
forward.
understand it.
Okay, next slide, please. Okay, so but now we have a new option. So we didn't invent this option, but we're taking advantage of somebody's successful use of Uber on demand. So we applied for funding from the CTD, who has an innovative service development grant each year that agencies can apply for additional funds for. It's only good for 1 year. And since they didn't award it until December, we only have 6 months to use this money. But it at least helps us develop this new program that we may use going forward after the end of June as well. But we need to see how it works. And what it is an Uber contractor would be an option for a trip for you. You have to opt into it, approve that use rather than a paratransit vehicle. It is for ambulatory riders only. So it does not include individuals that need a personal care attendant or has a need for somebody to help them from the door. And that might sound terrible, but I'm going to tell you why it's still good. Because the more people that we can put into this category helps the volume on the other. So ambulatory people would be suggested. If they agree to it, they get an option for the same price that they would paratransit. We're only allowing them to go 15 miles. It can't be a cross-county trip. That gets a little too expensive, but locally shorter trips are more cost-effective using Uber. And so we've decided to bring that into the fold to see how it works for us. And so that clearly would open up space on paratransit for non-ambulatory people and could potentially give them more options going forward. So that's the goal for sure. And then the other option is our existing Bow Ride service, which is coming to the east side here on March 1st, is allow all TD eligible riders that can use Bow Ride to book trips 24 hours in advance. And that means that you get first dibs at all the space on Bow Ride. And then everyone else that doesn't fall into the TD category can book what's left. That prioritizes our the neediest individuals in the community first. And then everyone else that may not have an issue with income or may just be using Bow Ride because it's convenient. I love that, but at the same time, they fall into the next category.
How many vehicles are available on the current area?
On our west side of the county is 15 vehicles.
And how many cars in emergency?
I think it's around the same for all the.
Has there any been
zones.
discussion about, because they're having success, the chance of expansion of them?
So I would love to expand Bow Ride on the west side of the county, but it would be a cost. And right now, the budget that we have is fully expended. And I can tell you that in fiscal year 27's budget, we're going to have a tough time keeping it at budget. Talk to your county council member. Or your state legislature.
Stay there. You go.
Right, right. So this is really good news for us. We rolled this program out just a couple of weeks ago. We're trying to get the word out. We're doing educational videos that we'll provide to the public on all these changes, on what really paratransit is about and who's really eligible for it. There's misconceptions that everybody should be available to use paratransit, and that's not possible for us, and it's not how our programs operate. So we want to make sure everybody is very well aware of how paratransit operates in this county. And it will help individuals learn how to use our new app and book your own rides, which, by the way, you can upload the Votran app anytime. Put your credit card information in there and pay for your trips. You don't need tickets any longer. It's a wonderful thing. So lots of advances here at Votran lately. Go ahead, Mary.
I know I talk a lot, I'm sorry, but I think they're valid questions. Okay, so you mentioned the Uber portion of this, which sounds great to me. I do have the app. I do book my trips. I've done it for a couple of weeks. It works pretty well, except the system arbitrarily changes my times without. It confirms what I asked for and then it changes it to whatever the hell it wants. That's problematic, but the Uber part, I wanted to know, when it says to choose your transportation option, the only option I have, that comes up is Votrain Gold. So is there something that I have to do?
So, right.
To get Uber as an
Awesome,
option?
awesome question. You're not going to use the Uber app. You're going to use the Votran app.
Right,
Our app automatically deploys an Uber to you. Do not use the Uber app.
oh, no, I can understand that, but when it asks you, the app asks you what your ride choice is. And it does ask you, and it says.
Are you talking about the Votran app?
Yes.
Okay, so you have to opt into this program
That's
first.
what I'm
So you're
asking.
gonna
So what do I have to
call,
do that?
can they do that right from the app?
Is she TD? Because
Well, she could be both, I think.
Because I thought it was only for TD. no?
It is only for TD.
Okay, that's.
It's only for TD. So you can call here and they'll help you opt in. There'll be a space on the application going forward where you can just say, yes, I want to opt into Uber if it's available. I'm down with it.
If it's available to me, I would certainly.
You would
opt
choose
in
that.
Because I use Uber when I can't get Votrain.
And so, but if you call here, the customer service group will help you opt into it and your Votran app will soon be able to provide you with the Uber app.
But you
Uber
have
option.
to be TD, so.
You have to be TD
Okay.
You have to be
Just
TD.
want to Be clear, okay.
and you can only be up to 15 miles. So
Right.
if your trip is 15 and a half, it's going to tell you nope.
Thank you.
All right, good question though. So I think that's about it. I just need, I assume a motion would probably be appropriate to make these
Yeah, it's the
changes.
motion to proceed with the options or the proposal that was set forth, Bobby said.
We're talking, the criteria proposal?
Yes.
Or,
So we're talking about the eligibility and the prioritization.
She gave the eligibility requirements, where you had the current status, for example, the age requirement removed, whatnot is to be proposed, and the prioritization.
should those be separate motions?
That's a good question. That's where you.
Because those are two really
You know,
different.
this was intended as a presentation,
Yeah.
So really,
Okay,
so.
fair enough.
we can have it on the agenda as a vote, correct?
That's correct.
So we have to put it on a future.
If we put this on a future agenda item,
Yeah, it's
we
gonna,
won't have time to spend the
Yeah.
money, the Uber money.
Is the
my
board
question is,
change
if
that?
my question is the fact that it was advertised as a presentation.
I don't know how that works.
And
We could do a consensus.
just a consensus to do it? Okay, we have a consensus to, instead of taking a formal vote, we have a consensus to proceed.
Yes.
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 Okay, thank you.
That's moving forward.
Yeah, that helps us get started and really
No, and I agree. If we
No.
wait on this,
Right. quarterly meetings really put us
And we'll
behind.
lose time because we have somebody needs to utilize it.
Yeah. I really want to get everything, the ball rolling on all
Take advantage of
these plans, but thank you all very
Thank you, Bob.
much.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And you have another presentation discussion for the
Do I?
the service grant?
Oh, okay, well, it was kind of, built into that last presentation, so it should be pretty quickly done. So again, each year CTD, state CTD provides agencies the option to apply for additional funding. It has to be something innovative, something we're not doing now, something that provides more service, you name it. And so that's why we introduced the Uber program to our service here. They approved it in December, and now we have $450,000 of their money to spend, $50,000 of county money to spend. Once we get this program up and running and we see how it's really working, we'll build it into our next annual grant with the CTD, because we won't have the innovative service development money anymore. And then we will be able to provide both kinds of services going forward after July 1st. So it's a pilot, use it. I hope you enjoy it. It's, I think it's a game changer here for most of us, and really want to see it help us provide more trips
If
overall.
we see the success of other options out there grant wise to continue the program.
There isn't. We would have to use the same allocation we get every single year, but we have to put together what's called a rate model every year. And it says how many trips we're going to provide and how much it costs us to provide those trips. And if we can say,
Or using the data.
20% are going to be now Uber option here, then we can up our ambulatory trips and put more people on the TD program. So in the end, the next year's grant will definitely incorporate Uber and definitely will provide more ambulatory trips in the long run. So that's the goal. Do the best that we can.
Oh. Mayor Santiago, go ahead.
Hi, good morning, everyone. As you know, I am representing AHCA, the Agency for Healthcare Administration, but I had a question, due to the fundings, being cut back or possibly not covering every transportation out there. And I'm glad these new programs are coming about to help out, of course. But I was a little more concerned because I was reading an article about the growing population in Volusia County. It's in the last 5 years has been a little over 9%, and now they anticipate another 12% in the next coming 5 years. I was kind of like a little worried about that.
Yeah,
Well, yeah, rightfully so.
warranted.
Yeah, it is. It is. That's, like we have these, I'm sorry, Bobby, I didn't mean to interject, but why we have these other programs and why we're able to use services like Uber and whatnot to share the burden, if you will, and boat ride, how great they've been. And the fact that we're bringing it over to the east side. So I think our
Yeah.
staff are fully aware of that. It's a big concern and a just concern. Everybody shares it. I've been in this county for, counted today, 56 years, and I've seen the changes over time. So I'm with you, and it's not going to stop. It's not going to stop.
Yeah, I think this is our fastest growing service need is the TD program.
This is, and that's very well put. We're seeing more and more of a need for that as opposed to just regular transit services.
Yeah, and that's what I was reading, which is why I brought up the concern.
Yep. No, very warranted. I appreciate that. Thank you.
No problem.
Anybody else? Thank you, Bobby.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. All right, now Pamela, you have a presentation on the overview of the Florida Sunshine Law and Robert's Rules of Order. Yeah, I went through this.
It was your heart.
So, the purpose of the Sunshine Law is to make sure decisions made by public bodies are made in an open forum that's accessible to the public. Decisions refer to official actions that are taken, but can also include recommendations, discussions, and deliberations. There are 3 basic requirements of Sunshine Law, and these include, number 1, meetings of public boards or commissions must be open to the public. 2, reasonable notice must be given of all meetings. And 3, minutes of the meetings have to be taken and promptly recorded. So meetings essentially must be open to the public. Meeting notices, there has to be reasonable notice. Reasonable is not otherwise defined in the law. The Florida Attorney General recommends the following guidelines, which include the notice should include the time, the place, and the subject matter. If available, an agenda. If there is no agenda available, then a statement of the general subject matter should be included. The notice needs to be prominently displayed This can be in like the main office or the agency website. And the notice should provide at least 7 days, be provided at least 7 days before the meeting. Our TPO bylaws state that notices and tentative agendas are provided at least 5 working days before regular meetings. And emergency meetings should be noticed in the most appropriate and effective manner under the circumstances. TPO requires at least 2 business days notice for special and or emergency meetings. In regards to the minutes of meetings, they should all meetings should have recorded minutes, including workshops. Minutes are intended as a brief summary reflecting the events of the meeting. A verbatim transcript is not required, and they must be in a written format. Audio recordings are optional. So meetings of public boards or commissions at which official acts are to be taken must be open to the public. A meeting occurs when there's any gathering, whether it's formal or informal, and 2 or more members of the same board or commission come together to discuss a matter on which foreseeable action will be taken by the board or commission. There's no requirement that a quorum be present to be labeled a meeting. And this includes meetings held via phone or other electronic means such as Teams, any form of online as well. So why do we have the sunshine law? Well, the answer is because every act of a public official as it relates to the scope of their duties is a matter of public concern, and the public should have access to the entire decision-making process, including initial inquiries and deliberation. Sunshine law applies to all the TPO board and advisory committees, including the TDLCB, any committee or board, regardless of whether the members are elected or appointed. Discussions between 2 or more board members of the same committee or board about topics that could foreseeably come up for action must take place in a public meeting setting. This means that discussions about potential action items can't take place in person, by phone, email, text message, on social media, or by any other means of communication. Essentially, 2 people cannot discuss a matter that could come up before them on the same board. In email messages, it means you should not hit reply all, as that includes others who are on the same board and would be a violation of the sunshine law. You also have to declare conflicts of interest if there are any, which I'll cover in just a moment. So the discussions that are covered include email discussions between 2 or more board members or committee members, telephone conversations between the same, internet discussions between the same. This includes chat rooms, blogs, comments, anything. Text messages, inaudible discussions, and these are discussions that occur between board members in an open meeting that can't be heard by others. They violate the sunshine law. So a personal conversation about an item on the agenda with a committee member who's sitting next to you is technically a violation of the sunshine law. And discussions during recess or after adjournment, when the public meeting is not in session, board members must refrain from discussing board matters until the next meeting or the current meeting is reconvened. So an individual board member is not prohibited from discussing board business with staff or a non-board member. However, staff can't be used as a liaison to communicate information between board members. In other words, a board member can't ask staff to poll other board members to determine their views on an issue. Generally, individual board members may call upon staff members for factual information and advice without being subject to the sunshine law. However, the law applies if a board member uses 1 or more staff members as a go-between, where the board members are essentially discussing matters that could foreseeably come before the board via third parties. There are penalties for sunshine law violations. Unintentional violations are criminal, non-criminal infractions punishable by a fine of up to $500. Intentional violations are second-degree misdemeanors punishable by a fine of not more than $500 and a jail term of not more than 60 days. So it's pretty serious if you do have a sunshine law violation. It also includes the possibility of suspension or removal from office for the commission of a felony or misdemeanor. So Robert's Rules of Order and Parliamentary Procedures are methods used to conduct business at meetings that allow everyone to be heard and to make decisions without confusion. So motions are essential during a meeting to take action. Motions are stated proposals on which a committee or board takes action, and there can only be one main motion at a time. So an example of a main motion would be I move to approve the January 10th, 2025 TDLCB meeting minutes. They can be amended if a committee or board desires. An amendment to a motion modifies the pending main motion before it is voted on. So an example to amend a motion would be, I move to amend the motion to approve the January 10th, 2025 TDLCB meeting minutes, to strike the words 1,000 no-shows and add the word 1,200 no-shows. So when you have a main motion and an amendment on the floor, you vote on the amendment first, and then the main motion as amended. There are 6 steps to a motion. First, a motion is made by a committee or board member. 2, someone else seconds the motion, and then the chair restates the motion as it was proposed. The floor is then open for debate or discussion. And once discussion is complete, the chair asks for affirmative votes, followed by negative votes. And then the chair announces the vote results, such as like the motion is unanimous and it carries. The motion belongs to the committee and not the actual maker of the motion as soon as the chair restates it and opens the floor for debate or discussion. This is important for the next item, which is withdrawing. A motion that is made can be withdrawn by the person who proposed it, but only until the chair restates it and opens it up for debate or discussion. Once the motion is released for discussion, the maker of the motion must request permission from the floor who now owns the motion. So in order to withdraw it, the request to withdraw can then be voted on as a consensus vote, but if it isn't unanimous, we will call vote on it. As far as voting goes, first you must have quorum. And Robert's rules defines a quorum as a majority. However, the TCO board, TCO bylaws take precedence over Robert's rules. And our bylaws define the TDLCB quorum as 6 voting members who are physically present. Virtual members can only vote when there's a physical quorum, and they cannot be counted towards that physical quorum. During the vote, silence indicates consent and a yes vote. So if you do not vote, that's indicated a yes vote and that you do agree with the vote. Members must abstain from a vote when there is or appears to be a conflict of interest. So a conflict of interest includes if there is special private gain or loss, which means that economic benefit or harm could result, or if relatives could receive economic benefit or harm. Relatives in this case include the person's father, mother, son, daughter, husband, wife, brother, sister, father-in-law, mother-in-law, son-in-law, and daughter-in-law. Anybody else is not considered a relative in this case. So if there is a conflict of interest, you have to fill out a form. It's called Form 8B, Memorandum of Conflict. You must fill this out within 15 days of abstaining from a vote. In addition, conflicts of interest should be disclosed prior to or at the meeting where the vote will take place. And if there's any questions, I will be happy to answer.
Okay. Seeing none. I know we have an 11 o'clock. We're gonna give some people the opportunity to come in for the annual public meeting. But I'll move right on to any staff comments.
Yes, board members, please stay for our TD public hearing immediately following this meeting. And I would like to thank the board members who participated in our annual evaluation this year. Dee Wilson, Carlos Colon, who's not here, Jamie Ledgerwood is his alternate, and Heather Harrelson, who completed the purchasing agency survey. And those are my comments.
Thank you very much. Any board member comments? None from me. So at this time, we'll adjourn at 10:55 so we can give the opportunity for the public to come in for the annual meeting.